All right. Should we get the chant going, James? What do you think? Newcastle, Newcastle,
Newcastle. Bring it on.
All right. Yeah. Welcome to the Knighthood podcast for our round 26 review and round 27 preview, brought to you by MB Optimal Oral Care. Thanks for the patience. We had some audio issues with our streaming provider, but we figured it out and we crack on. So looks like we had a head knock, James. 15 minutes in the HIA.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's been an eventful 15 minutes, as you say, and it's the second time for me I've had the audio issues, so it doesn't like me.
Yeah.
I think I'm cursing it.
But, I think it's just a bit of a bug in the program we've got, but we figured out how to fix it this time, so all good. Look, I'm really excited. I got that. I guess it's hard to describe it. This is the feeling that this is the reason why we support the team and we get into the nights, is to have this feeling of excitement and anticipation of success. And it's going to be a great match on Sunday out there at McDonald Jones against the Dolphins. And it's surprising actually to be feeling like this, considering the season we've had. It just seems like it's happened just all of a sudden, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago it was looking pretty dire and I was feeling a bit down, and don't want to speak for you, but you're probably feeling the same way.
We were.
And it's just been a roller coaster of a season. We lost that Cronulla game, but I still thought we put in a really solid performance and should have won that game. And then now we've backed it up with wins against the Rabbitohs and a good win against the Titans, and it brings us all back to Marathon Stadium this Sunday against the Dolphins. So bring it on. Yeah,
it's exciting.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either. I've got a good I've got the September bug, mate. Feels like semi-final time, and feels like we're preparing for a match, especially going. This is the first year doing the podcast and riding the wave. How big is that wave, James, and how far do you think it can go?
Look, I'm confident we're going to win this week. Obviously it's looking like if we do get through to the 8, and I'm pretty confident we will beat the Dolphins. We're probably looking at playing the Dogs at a core, maybe.
We might run a live ladder predictor and look at that when we get to that section.
Yeah, so I think
Dogs or Cowboys. I think that the last time I looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, and look, Cowboys, we played well against, or not fantastic, but we should have won that game earlier in the year, and we'd be looking to rectify, poor performances against the Dogs. We know what they're going to come out with. But in saying that, we're not there yet. We're going to win this game this week, and basically those guys have just got to take it 1 week at a time, as cliche as that is. You just got to win each game. And
so we're not sure how big the wave is or how long that wave is going to last. It could crash this week, and it could be all over. So that's the reality that we face. But, we've put ourselves into a position to actually make the top 8, and you would expect that being Old Boys Day, and it's the final round of the year in the regular season. Probably we're going to have a sellout. It's going to be fine weather. We've got an 88% full strength roster. Really, it's about as close to full strength as we could get at this time of year, and we've got momentum, which we discussed in last week's podcast. So healthy squad with momentum. I guess we'll find out how big and how far that wave's going to go this week, because if we can turn up and really give it to the Dolphins, who knows how far it could go. I really think that if you look at the top 4 teams right now, 3 of them are quite vulnerable in the Roosters. I think also the Sharks and the Panthers, that none of them really are standing out saying that they're going to be in the grand final. And I think it's pretty clear that Melbourne will be there. And it just depends on what side of the draw you fall into. And I think actually if we do finish in 8th and we play 5th and we beat the 5th team, I think we'll be in the opposite side of the draw to Melbourne. So there is a window there. We're not saying we're going to make it to the prelim final and play it again into a grand final, but we have a pretty healthy roster and we have the momentum behind us. So who knows? Maybe this is the year where a team outside of the top 4 gets into the grand final, and maybe it could be the Knights. It's only 2 wins. You're in the finals, it's 2 wins, and you're in a prelim.
I think what's looking good for us is that Kalen's looking in pretty ominous form at times. He's looking really hungry. He's looking like he's really attacking the game. I think key points for us though is some of our key players who've been injured. They've missed a bit of footy. Your Bradman Best, your Tyson Gamble's, even Kalen. They'd be feeling pretty fresh, you'd think, even though maybe lacking a bit of match fitness, but they wouldn't be like worn out from a long, hard slog of a season. So
I reckon the timing's good, man. I really think the timing's good. And Angelo, shout out, mate. You've been our number 1 supporter this year. And, your comment here is to think that we've got such confidence after how we were feeling about a month ago. That's exactly how we're feeling, mate. It's a big turnaround, isn't it? It's kind of like you're out surfing and it's been flat, and it's been you've been catching closeouts all year, and here comes the rogue wave, and you're going to paddle to get on it. There's no one around you. The question is, the pressure's on. You're going to you're going to stand up and make the score, finish a wave. We're going to find out.
I think there's also that feeling. I don't want to be pessimistic, because we've got a good feeling at the moment, but as with the Knights, we feel like they've been building some momentum during the year at times, off the back a couple of wins, and they don't really back that up. So I'm really hoping they change that trend this week. They just keep the ball rolling. They don't sort of fall into a heap. That'd be really disappointing, but I can't see that happening.
Well, let's get into it, James. Let's get into the review of last week. We will, let's just bear with me for a second here, and we'll get the slides up. So I think that's optimal view, mate. So here we go. The Newcastle Knights round 26 review and round 27 preview, brought to you by MB Optimal Oral Care. The overview for tonight, we're going to do the review of the round 26 match, run over our 3-2-1 update of the year, player of the year, which is getting pretty hot at the top of the ladder. We'll have a look at the NRL ladder, look at where we stand, but we pretty much all know where we're at. And we'll have a look at our season review. Only 1 match left in the regular season, and we'll lay it on the line and tell you where we think the side should be and where we are. We'll have a look at the run home, the last match, how we performed in the last 6 matches, or 5 matches, and this is the 6th on that sheet we've got. And then we've got some talking points, some clips from the media to have a look at. And then what we'll do in the second half of the show is we'll run over the teams list, have a look at our analysis, and then run over our betting update, which is getting quite exciting because we predicted a few weeks ago the Knights would make the top 8, and we got odds of $8.25. So we're pretty excited about that. And that will definitely end the season in a really good, taking money from the bookies, basically. And then we'll get into the tips to end the show, James. So, look, we won't spend too much time on this. I'm pretty excited to get into the main juice of the preview. But let's quickly reflect on the win against the Titans. We got up. The score was 36 to the Knights, 14 to the Titans. Very similar score to the match against the Rabbitohs a week before. 7 tries, as most tries have scored this year, to the Titans 3. Let's jump straight into some team stats, and these are the highlights instead of going through every stat thing. So we've got a completion rate of 87%. We ran for 2,117 meters, pretty good. 8 line breaks. The Titans' average set distance was at 53 meters. I think that's something that we need to contain this week. The Titans did seem to roll up the field pretty well, and I think they were helped by the ref to a certain extent, but that's another topic. 13 offloads. So our style of footy is changing. We're bringing in more offloads, and there was some champagne football being played out there especially in that first 20 minutes of the second half. And our kicking meters was 596, 30 missed tackles. I thought our defense was really good, but there are some critical areas that we need to fix, which comes up in the analysis in the second half of the show. We made 6 errors. If we complete at 87%, this week and make 6 errors, I think we'll beat the Dolphins. And we also won the battle of the discipline, 8 penalties against us to the 14. We're going to run through now some player stat highlights. So 3 tries to Fletcher Sharp and 2 tries to KP. Top tackler, Brayley on 49, Lucas on 43, Elliot the Kettle on 37. Off the back of news that he's been shopped around for next year as well in the final year of his contract. Marju, 237 running meters, Ponga 218, Gay Guy 213, Best 210. Outstanding. As good as you'll see from any team in the NRL. Lucas, 167 meters in the back row in his home. He's been selected there this week, which is going to definitely pleases me to see him starting there with Tyson Frizzell, potentially one of the best back rows that you'll see in this comp. Hetherington, 148 meters. Jones, 131. Big bad Brodie Jones. What a flick pass to Fletcher Sharp. I think the 2 goannas combining. How good was that? Jack Cogger, 298 kicking meters. Gay Guy, 8 missed tackles. As good as he's been this year, he's also come up with errors and missed tackles. But look at, he's been one of our best players all year. And in that center position, you are going to fall off some tackles from time to time. But let's hope he cleans that up this week. And then we've got Gay Guy and Best 2 try assists apiece. I'm going to now run into the press conference. So the notes that O'Brien made, we said it was a good result. They work really hard. The Titans moved this around, and I agree with that. I think the Titans turned up. They played really well in the first. It was a pretty high standard of footy at the open of the match. We had the upper hand, and we definitely had the momentum, but we just couldn't convert, and then they scored off that shift. 16 out of 16 sets were completed to start the second half, was a comment that he made, and that's where we basically controlled possession and scored those tries on a tiring Titans side, which is hard to sort of keep up when you're not, at the same level of incentive to win the match. And that's, funnily enough, that's where we placed the live bet at halftime, and we cleaned up with 2 winning bets. So we've got a really good read, and we've been on a good winning streak for the last few weeks. Another interesting comment that he made in the conference was that he singled out Blake Green as the attacking coach, and he basically said he runs the defense. Now, I think that's kind of a bit of a defense mechanism from O'Brien. What are your thoughts on that comment, James? I don't know if you watched the conference and heard that, but he basically said that, I don't know, it's kind of like he was trying to deflect the responsibility for the attack, which I thought was a little bit odd, but I can kind of see where he's coming from as well, because look, at the end of the day, the buck stops with him. He's the head coach. He makes the final calls. He has to be responsible. Yeah. I just thought it was really odd that he would single out Blake Green and kind of put it on the responsibility for the attack onto him in a press conference. Thought that was really odd.
It's classic AOB, isn't it? He's come up with some weird stuff this year in conferences. So we'll just add that to his little book of classics. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we don't want to bring down the energy of the positivity, mate. But look, we got to call it how it is, and I just thought that was really odd. But let's move on from that point. He said that he's starting to think that the team's getting this tactic of kicking and defending, and it's starting to pay off and playing the long game. I agree. I think this style of footy, in conjunction with a revitalized attack and Kalen Ponga really pulling his finger out and having a go, is working. So, yeah, I get really good vibes at the moment, and we'll go into that when we do our analysis. These are just his comments. Look, we're back in control of our destiny. That was a comment made, and Ponga was pretty keen on pumping that up and talking up the Hunter getting behind the team, and this is a big match on Sunday to get out there and support them. And we've got Tyson and KPP back. Well, KPP isn't named in the 17. We'll see how that lines up on Sunday, 3 p.m., 1 hour before kickoff. KP, like I said, is excited to have the Hunter behind the team. James, let's run through your final analysis.
Yep. So first point, got the Knights started with energy but couldn't capitalize early. Second point, the Titans scored an early try against the run of play. I felt that was that sort of changed the momentum obviously for the Titans for a bit, because we were in control up until that point. Then they just put on this that try out of nowhere, and we're a bit sort of off, on the back foot a bit after that. But we got back into the grind. Next point, throughout the first half, the Knights had a few opportunities, but just couldn't convert that into points. I felt the attack was pretty clunky, but then I thought about it later, and I thought, it was pretty windy out there and stuff. Maybe it was, some of their passes were a bit not like on the money, so it could have been to do with the wind. I don't know, but they just seemed a bit clunky to me.
They've actually done that a number of times this year, mate, in the first half at home, where they could have piled on points, and things just happen and they just don't score. It's just it has happened all year. It's definitely a habit. I hope they get rid of that this week, and I do think it will disappear this week. It will see a different first half.
Yeah, so just at the end of that point, I've got I thought it was a bit of a patchy first half, but going off the stats look fantastic. Maybe what I was seeing didn't seem to aim up with the stats, but obviously the stats aren't lying. So next point, came out of the blocks on fire in the second half. They were playing fast and were offloading the ball. The Titans had no answer, and the Knights flew out to a 30-4 lead. I think it worked out, if you include that try just before the halftime break. We scored 5 tries in about 18 minutes, I think it was. Just really put them to the sword,
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
And we looked fantastic. Like they look fast. They looked the best I've seen them all year.
Champagne footy.
Champagne footy. I was pumped. I was like hoping they would continue that for the rest of the half, and it sort of didn't materialize. But anyway, our next point, the Knights looked like a completely different team after the 60th minute mark. The commentators mentioned the switch had been turned off. So and that's how it sort of was. Maybe it was a mental thing. Maybe they thought, we got it in the bag. But I'm not sure if you noticed it, but when Greg Marzhew got jumped over by Jojo Fafita for that try, it was a bit of a deflator. Yeah, we were totally in control. Not that we weren't in control, but we were
totally in control.
Dominant.
And then it was just one set of 6 where the Titans, they got up the field, and then they scored off that kick, and that changed the momentum. And then the Knights went back into slogfest mode.
Yeah. But,
which is understandable. I think also that after that, you've got that good lead, and then you start thinking, okay, we've won this. We've got the Dolphins next week. We've got to stay fresh. I don't think that's it's human nature, the psychology. I think, if you're playing, you're going to be thinking, how good's this? We're going to win this match, and you start to see the finish line. And then I thought Cogger came in and controlled the game. He turned it into slogfest footy, and we were able to then repel them. And then we scored that awesome try at the end, Elliott onto Thompson, and he just crashed over the young fullback on his debut. And that was an amazing way to finish. And I just think that finish with slogfest mindset and holding them out and then scoring at the end, I think that's going to feed into next week. And I think that's what O'Brien was starting to see when he's talking about we're starting to play the long game and get the benefits of that. That's exactly what the benefit is of slogfest. And we also did that in the first half. Nothing really went our way in attack, but we hung in there. And then when we really had to sort of put it on, and I remember messaging you privately and saying, look, if we score here before half time, we're going to score 30 points. And that's exactly what happened. So, I've got a real good feel for the style we've got right now, and that's got a flavour of Novocastrian in it as well, with the youth that's come through the team, and Fletcher Sharp. You've got big bad Brodie Jones. Cogger's back in the side. He's a local boy. The list goes on. There's more there as well. So I really like the style of play that we saw in this match, and I thought we had to overcome adversity a couple of times in the match, and we did that. So I thought it was the perfect dress rehearsal for a match at home against the Dolphins, when the stakes are going to be a lot higher. And I've just saw you commenting here, Angelo. So you kind of agree as well that first 20 minutes, the second half was phenomenal, and then they definitely took the foot off the pedal there. And then I think I just explained why. And it wasn't just you, mate, but I think it was actually a really good way to end the match. And I really think that we're going into this in the right fashion. We've had the right preparation. It's exciting.
Yeah, and look, I also thought we pretty much handled the speed and they got some really fast backs. The Dolphins, I mean the Titans.
Yeah.
For the most part, they did hurt us a few times, but we did handle them quite well. And the Dolphins are quite similar, a very fast team, a lot of danger in that back line. So the boys should be used to that this week after going through, playing against the Titans.
Yeah, it's a perfect dress rehearsal, really. I thought, the Titans are a good team, and they were pretty close to full strength themselves. I think their strength rating was something around 88 or 80%. It was over 80. They didn't have too many injuries. They had a couple of key injuries, but overall, that was a pretty strong team that they put out there. And even though they've been out of form, they did turn up and gave us a bit of an arm wrestle there for good majority of that first half. And they showed glimpses of what they could do in the match. But I really love the grit. I love the style. I reckon O'Brien has really, the one thing he's been successful at is really understanding that kind of that gritty style of footy that's in our blood, James, from the earlier years, in the formative years of the Knights when we were young kids. Sitting on the hill, watching the matches, and that it's that Steel kind of city mentality, and turn up to Newcastle and get smashed kind of thing. I really think you saw that in the first kind of set of the match. The Knights come out firing, and I think he's got that in the side, and I love it. And even though it kind of has been there all year, hasn't it? Because they had that period of the year when Ponga was out, and they had to kind of go and revert to that style of footy, and it worked for them 4 in a row. I think we won.
Yeah, look, and I don't think, apart from a few games against or one game against Manly and 2 against the Dogs, we haven't been pumped too many times. So defensively, we've been quite good.
Consistent.
It's just the attacking side of things. And good point you mentioned earlier regarding the like the kick and the chase and pinning teams down, which is fine. But you got to be able to, we've got the attack off the back of that now, to cause some damage. Whereas before we weren't threatening at all. So we'll just, it wasn't working. So I think if you got those two things working in tandem, a bit more expansive and a few offloads and stuff, that's when the game plan actually seems to work for us.
Yeah. Yep. Seems like the mix is starting to get right. Maybe it was running a bit rich before, and now the blend is about right with the defense and the attack. I will run over some key points in my analysis though, because there's some holes that the Knights need to fix. Otherwise, they're going to get their pants pulled down by the Dolphins in the way that they attack. But yeah, good analysis, James, and some key points that we've touched on there. So, who did you give your 3-2-1 to, mate?
Yeah, 3 to KP again. I think I gave him 3 last week as well. He was fantastic. Yep. All the energy. He was dangerous. He was just on fire, basically. Not much more to say. He thoroughly deserved these 3 points. Dylan Lucas absolutely killed it. He's such a great player. Like he's got to be my favorite player in the team, to be honest. He's just such a great player, and he does a lot of things. He looks dangerous. He's some of his offloads were fantastic. Yeah, so he got my 2 points. I thought Jack Hetherington was fantastic in that opening, especially in that. Yeah, he was like making yards. A bit of a mention. I think was it Thomas Cant as well, and actually a lot of the bench players were really solid. Like they actually made an impact. We've struggled to make an impact off the bench this year, but I thought Jack made a big impact, and that's what we need. So good on him, and hopefully that form continues.
Yeah. Okay. Well done. Well said. And it was. Look, I was really impressed with Lucas. He's a versatile player, and he's just all class, isn't he? He's just all class. Rightio. So let me get to my 3-2-1. So KP, how could you not give him 3? The effort was there. He was effort, taking hit ups. setting up tries, scoring tries. He's, there's a lot of talk at the moment around in the media that he's the best player in the game, and he's, becoming into a kind of an Andrew Johns era with, in the course of his career. And, when they get the mix right, he is that player, isn't he?
Oh, he's just, that's the thing. He's if he's got that consistency, going, he will be one of the, great players, but he hasn't sort of achieved that consistency yet. But apart, that 10-game run last year, he was just on fire. But just little things. He's got that. I think him and Reece Walsh can both do it. They can move when the ball's in the air, and they get themselves outside the defender, and they're just they're real classy, and not many guys can do that. And at this level, things like that can just make a huge difference in with regards to putting the defense off. So look, he's a great player, but we need him to be consistent, and hopefully he is. So
2 points to Dylan Lucas. Had a blinder. Just love it. Just love the, he's a junior. He's a Knights junior, and he's come through the ranks, and just love the way just love the spirit he plays with. He's just a really good player. You don't see anything over the top from him. He doesn't celebrate too. He just plays hard, tough.
And skilled though.
And skill. He's got it all. He's got it all. Great player. Really excited to watch him play again this week. And then we've got Bradman Best. Bradman Best, I thought his return was outstanding. He didn't look 100%, especially when I was a bit worried when he strided out and he made that break early. But he got through the match. He must have a bit of scar tissue and stuff there. You can see the way he runs. But hopefully no more issues, those hamstrings. And, I had to give him a point. It was very hard not to give Hetherington a point. It was also hard not to give Gay Guy a point. And, God, there was a lot of good players on this side. So, look, they're the ones that got our votes. The Player of the Year ladder, we've got Kalen Ponga on 31. I think he's only played something like 60% of the matches. So it just goes to show you that when he's in the team and he's on, he's the best, and he's the most influential player on the field when it comes to influencing a result. Bradman Best, 26 points. So he's 5 points off now. Dylan Lucas on 25, outstanding result so far. Well done, mate. And then Gay Guy on 25. If it wasn't for some inconsistencies from Gay Guy, I think he would be on top at the moment. And maybe if Bradman Best didn't get injured, he could also be on top of the form that he's been in this year as well. But it's looking like it's going to be KP to take it out, mate. And hopefully it's not just one match. And we will run this thing not just through the regular season, but we'll run this into the finals as well. So it goes to the Deaf United Player of the Year. It's not going to be like the Dally M medal when it stops in the regular season. Okay, let's have a look at the ladder. But before we do that, I've just had a thought that came in my mind, and we need to be there's something that really important happening right now, James. What is it?
I'm not sure. What is it? What's going on?
That dirty player, I hate him, Kafusi.
Oh.
He's at the judiciary. So what we're going to do, we're live here, guys and girls and mum and dad. So we're going to try and keep everyone posted on this, because it's a massive it'll be a massive thing. What do you think, James, if Kafusi doesn't line up there in the back row? He's an enforcer for them. He's such a dirty player. I hate him. He'd actually be my most hated player in the NRL. I just don't like it. He's a dog.
I honestly never,
for the lack of a better word.
Yeah, look, I didn't really have that much of. I didn't really hate him, to be honest, prior to I don't think I really hate him now. But in saying that, he's definitely
as a player. We're nothing personal, but just as the way I'd want to hit him if I played him. Like he just fires me up.
Yeah, I just think at the moment, and he seems to be constantly doing these late shots and the high shots.
He does it. I think he's had something like 7 or 8 charges in the judiciary over the last 3 years. something that maybe it's crept into his game as he got old. I don't know what it is, but I've just seen him do some dirty stuff against Knights players in previous games. I just don't like this guy.
Hopefully he gets rubbed out.
Yeah. So look,
what's he looking at anyway?
I'll see if he's looking at 2 matches. The main thing for us is that he doesn't play this week. Now, if he's been charged with, I think, level 2. If he goes to grade 1 from grade 2, he'll play this week. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that. Give me a second here.
I mean, when I saw it, it looked pretty like it. You know, he copped him on the shoulder, copped Reynolds in the head. So,
I'm pretty sure. For fuck's sake! Look, I just told you I had the feeling, and it's happened.
He got off, did he?
Yep, he's playing. The dog's playing. Sorry for the lack of a better word. Dogs are good.
No.
I like dogs.
Even with his great record.
I can't believe it. I had a feeling that this guy was going to get off. Anyway, 7 minutes ago, here it is, live updates on the Knighthood podcast. That's bad news, but look, whatever, bring them on. Whoever they've got, bring their best because they're going to get smashed. Let's go. We've got before we get into the ladder, I'm going to bring in another comment here. So Jeff Jackson made welcome. It's your first time making a comment. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for chiming in. So James, I'll pose this question to you, mate. What similarities and differences did you notice between the Knights round 26 performance and the Dolphins round 26 performance?
I mean, they were pretty different games. I mean, the Dolphins, I would say they were way more consistent in that game against Brisbane. They pretty much had them over a barrel the whole game. And they looked really strong throughout. They weren't as patchy as us. I'd say we were a bit patchier. But when we, in that 20-minute period, we really blew the Titans away. So, yeah, it's hard to compare. Look, Dolphins are going to be hard this week, and they're a dangerous team. Wayne's the master of getting teams up. So, but yeah, I can't compare. That was just 2 different types of games. And, Brisbane, they weren't really up for that. They weren't mentally there for some reason.
I've got a note, Jeff. I was going to bring this up in my analysis, but I'll bring it up now because it helps answer the question. I think Wayne Bennett has probably the biggest ego in rugby league, which I don't have an issue with. He's a champion coach. However, I think that match to him in front of beating Brisbane and knocking them out of the finals in Brisbane, I think that meant more to him than actually them making the finals. So I think he put everything into that game, and you could see with the tactics of the side and everything that they did, I think they might have peaked too early. They might have exposed themselves because they were hiding their team. So I think the big difference between the 2 matches, mate, is that we're building towards something that's going to continue to get better. We haven't fully shown our hand yet, where I think the Dolphins have shown their hand, and I think they've peaked a week early. What do you think about that, James?
Yeah, I mean, he would have had them completely up for that game, and that they were up for it, and they got pumped the week before against Melbourne, was it? They got beat by 40-odd. So
they did 48-6 or something. Yeah,
it's got to be really draining to be like so down and out, and you're up after, and then beating Brisbane, and then get yourself back up for a do or die contest at Marathon Stadium. It's see how they do that. But look, Wayne is the master. He can do that, and they're a good team. So it's going to be a tough one.
I think he's peaked them for that match, and I think that's going to be a disadvantage to them against the Knights on Old Boys Day on Sunday when everything's on the line. And I think they've shown their hand, and I think that's to our advantage. And I'm going to make a call out now. So Jeff, you hope the Safidi and Thompson smash him. Well, I hope they all smash him. And I'm actually I'm happy that he's playing because who cares who's on their team? They're all blank faces to me. Let's smash them and let's get the win. And let's call out every Newcastle Knights fan here on the Knighthood podcast. Give it to this guy at the game. He's a dog, and give it to him. Let's go. Semi-final time. Let's not hold back.
Fire up. Come on.
Fire up. Fire up. Give it to him. Give it to Kafusi and give it to all of them. And yeah, Angelo, some extra motivation. It is extra motivation. I'm really looking forward to it now. I can't wait till our forwards chime together and smash into Kafusi. Can't wait for it. Who cares about the judiciary? But let's just let's put this on the record. That's a shit call from the judiciary all year, right? All year they've been basically suspending players based off the match committee, and this guy's got a terrible record, right? So all of a sudden, and I watched that thing. He clearly had eyes for Reynolds. It's debatable whether he got him clearly in the head, but it was high enough. There was enough evidence there to suggest that it was late. He could have avoided the collision. Shoulder did contact the head. He got suspended by grade 2 suspension at match review. And the fact that he's been let off is a disgrace. And these Muppets making these decisions are a disgrace to our game. And I'm absolutely sick and tired of the bunker, of the refs, and the whole fucking system, including Graham Annesley. You can go and get fucked. There's a bit of fire. There's a bit of fire up for you. I think it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
You know that little touch thing you got down there that does all the noises?
Oh yeah,
you got to get one that does the bullshit chant. You know when it goes around the crowd.
Oh yeah, I'll buy a bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, get the bullshit chant going.
Look, sorry for the French, but I'm fired up and let's go. It's only Tuesday. We've got to calm down. Let's have a look at the NRL ladder. We'll try and calm down a bit. So there we are with the Dolphins. They're 8th, we're 9th, equal points. Winner takes all the glory, goes into the top 8. And I guess, James, in terms of who we might play, we did mention it's either probably going to be the Bulldogs or the Cowboys. It could potentially also be the Sea Eagles. It won't be the Sharks because of their for and against. So we're looking at either Eagles, Cowboys, or Bulldogs. Who would you like to line up against out of those 3 teams?
Oh God, it's tough. Probably the Cowboys, to be honest.
Okay.
Manly are a dangerous team. Look, in saying that, I reckon next time we play the Dogs, we'll be, we're coming off 2 pretty bad losses. You'd want to rectify that. So I reckon the boys could get up for a Bulldogs game. So
I'm picking the Bulldogs.
I'm changing.
I want dogs. I want the Bulldogs. Yeah. They've got us 2 times this year. I want redemption. I want the Bulldogs. Let's hope the cookies crumble that way when we beat the Dolphins on Sunday. Rightio. Let's have a quick look at the pass or fail for the season. So we've documented every game and put smiley faces and crosses against the performance. And the performance level for the season has been 17 smiley faces and 6 crosses. 74% of the matches we've turned up at a win percentage of 48%. So we've had 11 wins and 12 losses. If we win this week, we go to 12-12. That typically gets you into the finals. And yeah, it will this year too. If we get on 12-12, and I would say we're probably still 2 to 3 wins short. James, do you still agree with me there in regards to that?
Oh, 100%. There's looking back now at this time of the season, just how crucial some of those losses did. The close losses and the ones that we should have really nailed. That puts we'd be close to the top 4, probably in the top 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, let's have a quick look at that. So if we go back to the ladder, I'll make it a bit bigger so I can read the thing. I was looking at this the other night on Sunday. So we're on 11 wins. If we added 3 to that, would be on 14. So it would be equal to the Bulldogs, which is 1 win out of the top 4, which is where we were last year. 1 win out of the top 4.
Yeah.
So the way we're definitely under par. Is it fair to say that we're under par because of the coach's inability to get the halves combination right? Do you think I think we could confidently say that's the primary reason why we're 2 or 3 wins short.
Yeah, I think he's just been pretty haphazard in his not sticking for a while. He's jumping the gun and dropping guys and then changing it up. But also, I think for a while there he was a bit like he wasn't allowing the guys to play footy. It was as we were talking about the slogfest footy earlier. I think they were playing that to the full extent without any sort of branching out, and I think that hurt him as well.
But I think that could pay off for us now.
In semis, yeah,
it could pay off for us now. So maybe that's what you've got to do throughout the season, and sometimes, and that's why you've just got to win ugly sometimes. And yeah, I'm not so opposed to the tactics now, but I'm opposed to the team selections in the halves especially. And we've seen the rise of our local juniors, but we've also seen like a player, for example, KPP, who shown a lot of promise, but because of the style of play and I guess the things that the team first needed to do, unfortunately, we haven't seen the best from KPP, and we probably won't this year. I don't even think he's going to make the side for the final. So anyway, look, I think it's all coming together, but we are probably a few wins short, and if we miss out on the finals, it's going to be a tragedy, really. We've definitely got the squad, and I think we deserve to be the 8th team in the finals. And a lot of people will probably say as well that the Dolphins deserve to be there, but I think we've been more consistent than the Dolphins overall this year, and we're going to be the ones. We're the ones with the upper hand of the home match, Old Boys Day, and I think maybe the Dolphins have peaked one game too early. So look, that's where it's at, and this is the final 6 rounds that we've been looking at, James, for the last 5 rounds, and we've got 1 round of that to go. We've had 3 wins, 2 losses. We went down to 8 to the Panthers. We went down by 1 point to the Sharks, both top 4 teams. We've put the Tigers, the Titans, and the Rabbits to bed quite comfortably in those 3 matches. So, that Sharks game, that could have easily went our way, and we should have won that game. And we were in that match there with the Panthers, but they got us to the end. But I mean, ultimately here, we could be 4 from our last 5 matches, going into this one versus the Dolphins.
Yeah, and like worst case scenario, it's basically panned out the way we thought, because I think, or me personally, I thought, obviously we'd do well to beat the Panthers or the Sharks, and we went close in both games. We let's not beat around the bush. We should have won that game against the Sharks.
100%.
So really, we should have, won 4 out of the last. Or if we win this week, it would have been 5 out of the last 6, wouldn't it? So
well, like
that's
I mentioned,
not too bad. That's momentum.
Yep. So in the podcast last week, if you didn't tune in, I mentioned Billy Slater mentioned on his podcast that there's a few things you need to win a comp. That's what number 1 is ladder position. Number 2 is health of roster, and number 3 is momentum. So I think the way the cookie's crumbling this year with the finals, I think us landing in 8th position, and we'll analyze this further next week after we've beaten the Dolphins. So knock on wood. So I think we may land on the other side of Melbourne, and I think a lot of those teams in the top 4 are crumbling. And let's say, for example, we got through the Dogs, then you're going to be playing one of those teams that are on the down. So look, there's a live chance here that with the momentum and the health of our squad and the combinations building, possibly we can make a prelim this year. We did mention at the start of the year in our preview, James, that we are potentially a top 4 side, and hasn't been looking like we're going to get it all together this year, but maybe we do now.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, at the start of the year, that was definitely on the cards. We've had some dramas this year, not just with injury to key players, but also, like we were talking about earlier, with some of the coaching decisions, which hasn't helped the team either. So,
yeah,
look, for us to haven't sort of thrown in the towel, or we've been, I don't want to say consistent, but we haven't been terribly inconsistent either. So,
No.
I think, like in the grand scheme of things, and especially if you look at this last 6 week block of games, particularly if we win this game against the Dolphins, that's looking like some solid momentum going into this going into the final series.
It's really good momentum. Yeah. So look out. Newcastle Knights incoming for the finals, and we've got momentum and health of squad behind us. So who knows where it can take us? Sometimes good things come to those who wait, and there's no one's waited longer than. Well, maybe there's other teams. There might be some other teams like Tigers. Got to put poor old Tigers, but look, we deserve to be there when the whips are cracking, and let's see if the boys can earn it over the next few weeks. We could be in a prelim. let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We've got to make the finals first. Some talking points here. We wrote an article. So this is the second article that we've published. Knights back in control of their finals destiny. I wrote that on Saturday night after the results went our way, and you can see there the meme with the Dragons making the top 8 and the Eels behind them. As I put that up on X, as predicted, James, we did predict it, didn't we? We everyone was kind of talking up the Dragons. We were, quite confident that they were going to fall.
Yeah. I thought the Eels would put them away, and obviously they did, but it got a bit close towards the end. But they weren't really in danger. The Eels of dropping that, were they really? And the Dragons sucked. They were horrible.
That was terrible. Yeah, no, they did suck, and they got what they deserve. So anyway, we saw that coming, and that's a big reason that we placed this bet to make the top 8 a few weeks ago before that Sharks match. I analysed the ladder predictor and looked at the way the matches might fall, and it's landed in the position where we are now. We're right there, exactly where I thought we could be. And I thought it was worth taking the chance, especially at those juicy odds, 8.25. So we might just, what do you call it, a heist? We might pull off the heist, James, on the night of the finish the year. What a way to finish the year. Who would have thought
that? Yeah. Fantastic.
So, well, there's another point I had there. Talking point is the Dolphins to fight Kaufusi ban. Well, I just think that's an absolute shit decision. Shocking. And we should take that personally, Newcastle Knights fans and team members and everyone involved in the club. Let's take it personally and let's put a target on that motherfucker's head. Let's smash him. And then we've got Sam Walker, injury blow. So that kind of touches on what I'm discussing here and leaning and kind of getting at is that there's an opportunity here for us if we make the finals. The teams above us are potentially falling down, the likes of Penrith and the Roosters and Sharks to a certain extent. I think there's an opportunity this year for one of the teams ranking 5th to 8th to make the grand final. I have mentioned that the Cowboys are a smoky. I don't want to be playing the Cowboys. And I think it's going to depend on who runs 6th and 7th and 8th and 5th. I think 8th and 5th is the chance to land on the opposite side of Melbourne in that draw. So it could be the Knights, the Bull, whoever ends up in 5th, or the Knights.
Yeah,
great opportunity there.
Pretty interesting, isn't it? The Roosters. I watched that game against Canberra, and once obviously they lost Walker, Smith and Victor Radley, and they looked completely different team without those guys. They looked really out of sorts. So, and you'd expect that, you lose your playmaker plus other influential players. So they're not going to be the same team without those guys. Yeah,
100%. Let's chuck in a few more comments. Let's get into festival mode. It's finals time. Jeff's chimed back in again, so he's giving us raps. Thanks, mate. James, he's also noticed that the Dolphins had more handling areas and conceded more penalties than us during the respective round 26 performances. So, mate, stay in tune for our analysis because that's one of the key points that I bring up. If we complete at around an 87% rate and we only make 6 errors, from memory, I think the Dolphins made 12 errors and their completion rate was around 78%. So we are definitely, I think if those numbers stack up in this match, and I think they probably will because I don't think the Dolphins have been so consistent in their lead up to this. I think we've been way more consistent and we're building towards something. So, mate, that's a really good point. Thanks for chiming in there. Rightio. Keep bringing in the comments, guys. I like it. We're starting to get a bit of interaction. This is good. Exciting, James.
Yeah, I love it. Bring it on. It's good to see the people out there throwing in their comments. We've been waiting a while, but it's all happening now.
Well, mate, we've been flying under the radar, and we just for everyone out there tuning in, we decided that we were going to run this podcast this year and put a year under the belt and kind of keep a low profile. We're not trying to conquer the world and, get 1 million followers right now, but we're just trying to come up with quality content, have good takes, accurate takes, go through a systemized review and preview every week, which we've done. Mate, this is our 26th episode, so well done. It's going fast, and it's pretty exciting now, the position we're in. But yeah, we think at the end of the day that the Knights should be a club that challenge for top 4 positions in our men's team. We should be that type of side like a Melbourne that's consistently challenging for top 4 and premierships. With the junior nursery that we have, the history with the club. Now we've got a financially stable club. We've got probably the number 1 player in the game. Now we've just got O'Sullivan, now the recruitment manager. It's been a bit of an up and down season, but I think we're trending in the right direction to become that team that is constantly, challenging for the top 4 positions and for grand finals and premierships. And we're really passionate about that. We've had enough of being a mediocre club and footy side, let's step it up. And this is part of it. This week. Let's take a step forward and move into that new era. That's the era of performance, and that's what we're all about here at the United Podcast, James. And on the other flip side of that, on the coin, is that we like to have a punt in a responsible way and make a profit and take money from the bookies. And so far this year, we've done that. We've made a 17% return on investment, and if we land our top 8 bet, that's going to basically double. And we're going to pull off a heist. So yeah, mate, I'm pumped. It's been a good year. And we're only just getting started, everyone. So welcome and let's go. Rightio, it's half time. I'm going to go to a message from our season sponsor, MB Optimal Oral Care. MB Optimal Oral Care are our season sponsor of the Knighthood podcast. They have a range of zero plastic oral care products that are best for you and best for the planet. You can check out their full range of products via Chemist Warehouse online. Find the link in the description. Thanks, MB Optimal Oral Care, for sponsoring the Knighthood podcast for the 2024 NRL season. They sell awesome, eco-friendly oral care products that are best for you, best for the planet. Their champion hero product is the MB Edge tongue scraper that James has got. James, how's your tongue scraper going, mate? You've been, now for 10 weeks or something, a few months?
Yeah, mate, been killing it. Yeah, it's like I told you last time, it was hadn't used one before, so I'm a bit of a convert to the tongue scraper, and it's doing the job, and it's part of the routine now. So yeah, I thank MB for giving me a crack at the tongue scraping, and yeah, I love it. So for all you people out there, give it a crack, and you won't regret it.
Yep, and MB will last you a lifetime, either the stainless steel or the copper tongue scraper. And they retail for $22.95 or $24.95. You can get them via Chemist Warehouse. So jump onto Chemist Warehouse online and search MB, EMBI, space OOC. That's MB OOC. That stands for Optimal Oral Care. Check it out today. Right, James, second half of the show. Let's get cracking.
Let's go.
We've got the injuries and suspensions. So for Newcastle Knights, we're at an 88% full strength rating. Now, for most of this season, we've had a pretty good run with injuries. We've had some key injuries, but overall, we've had a pretty healthy squad. What's your thoughts there, James? Smiley faces mean they're in.
Yeah, I mean, with Frizzell, Gamble, I've noticed Gamble's made his way on to 14 this week. So, yep. KPP's had a good year, but I think he's sort of he had to make way for Lucas. You can't not have Lucas in there. So
and count Thomas Kahn as well. We'll
he's
get
great,
to the slides in a minute, but I thought he was outstanding last week. I would love to see him in the 17. I think he's 18.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was really impressive. I mean, we've got Tuala there, but let's be honest. He's not getting another crack with Fletcher Sharp there unless there's an injury.
No chance.
So
I picked. I said there's probably 2 players out of the top 17 there, but you could even say it's 1 because KPP might not even make the starting side right now based off the way the season's kind of crumbled and the performance of our local juniors coming through the ranks, which has just been awesome. Really exciting to see. Yeah. So Maitland boys, I was born in Maitland, so up the Maitland boys. Rightio. James, you were born in Waratah, right?
Yeah,
Where
Western
we
Suburbs
went to school?
Hospital,
Yeah.
Curtin Road. Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Born in everyone else was born at the Mater. I was born at Western Suburbs Hospital, so
Western
not sure
Suburbs.
why. Yeah.
Interesting. Mate,
Curtin
let's
Road.
get on to the Dolphins. They've got a full strength rating of 70%. So Bromwich and Nicarima, they are named this week, but they've got Kerr, Aiken, Flegler, and Gilbert out. So, geez, if you go, you think if they had Gilbert and Flegler and Aiken and Kerr inside, they're potentially a really, really good side that could do a lot of damage in this competition.
Yeah, look, they've particularly Flegler. They've missed him all year, and he was one of the best front rowers going last year when he was with the Broncos. But yeah, put a few of those guys back in the team, and there's different kettle of fish. But we'll take the 70% strength rating of the Dolphins this week, and we'll
we have a healthier squad.
Yeah, that's just how it works, and hopefully we can smash them.
What else are you seeing there, James? Kafusi.
No, and he's back.
He's back, man. He's back. Kafusi. Give it to him, everyone at the game. Get loud.
Dolphins had a good lawyer. They had a great lawyer.
Yeah. What's I forget the top lawyer's name. I do know it. It'll come back to me later. Anyway, he must have had him. Kafusi's in the side. Smash him. Right.
All right.
Before we get into the teams list, I think we've got a couple more comments here, James. Just let me select one.
Nice. Loving it. I don't think we've had as many comments as we have tonight. It's great.
Yeah, look, I think, Jeff, you've brought up a point here that I don't think Crossland has been banned. So I think we should just double check that. He did go and report, but I'm pretty sure Crossland's good. But let's just do a quick check. I think he's sweet. Yeah, no, we're good. Crossland's in. We don't have to worry about that. That would have been terrible if he wasn't in. So, yeah, rest easy, Jeff. We're all good. Crossland's in, mate. And Angelo's chiming in here. So, James, getting through week one of the finals and potentially playing Cronulla, they're looking very beatable. Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think, James?
Yeah, look, the Cronulla Sharks have been pretty damn patchy for a while now. They haven't been overly. I mean, they put that huge score on. I think it was the Titans. Actually, they towed them up. But apart from that, they've been losing games that you'd think they'd win. And let's not forget, we basically lost the game we should have won at Shark Park in that Golden Point game. So
yeah, well, that's what Angelo's got to say there. I'd love to see a revenge match. Yeah,
we can totally match them, and and we can match all those top four teams. At the moment.
Well, I did the ladder predictor, so I've got a pretty good track record of getting the accuracy of this right, based off where we're at the moment with this bet. But then we got to get through this week, and what we will do is go into a full analysis, finals analysis when we get there next week, where we got to get over this hurdle. But yeah, I'll just have a quick look at the ladder predictor and what we did come up with. So we came up with I came up with Bulldogs in fifth, which would mean we'd be playing the Bulldogs in the first week of the finals. And guess what, Angelo, mate? That does line us up against the Sharks in the second week of the finals. And I reckon both of those matches are very winnable, James.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exciting. Really,
especially exciting. Yeah, and they'd be going into the finals probably, a bit, a bit wobbly, whereas we'd be coming in.
I reckon the Bulldogs are coming in pretty. I reckon we're coming in full of steam, especially if we give it to the Dolphins. And I am predicting that we're going to beat the Dolphins regardless of this top 8 bet that we've got. I've gone through the analysis, and the analysis tells me that we are going to win this match. There's too many factors in our favour. But they are definitely a danger team, and they could beat us. There's definitely a chance that we will lose. But in all probability, we do win this match on Sunday. And if the cookie crumbles this way, if we play Bulldogs and Sharks, there's a really good chance we're going to make a prelim. How good would that be, James?
Bloody fantastic. But, let's just get through this week. It's good to think about, though, because, it's particularly the Sharks. I know we can beat those guys. And the Dogs, we'd like to repay the favor of, they towed us up twice. So the redemption.
Yeah, 100%. Another comment here from Jeff. So, all right, James. So he's got a question here. So from your point of view, if you're a player, how much of an impact does the home crowd have on the players? Imagine being out there and hearing the Newcastle chant, James. I got to play. I got to play one game in my career. I think it was in 17s, South Newcastle, 16s. I think it might have been 16s or so. I can't remember. One of the two.
The grand final.
We won the comp. It wasn't a comp. It wasn't a grand final, but we played a match before the Knights, and it was great. I had one. That was my dream playing. I wanted to play for the Knights, and I wanted to be in that situation, Jeff, out on the field there in the Newcastle chant, representing. And that was my dream as a kid. I never made it through that far. Got achieved some good things in my footy career as a young kid in Newcastle, but unfortunately didn't make it. And look, mate, I'm so passionate about the Knights, and I guess that's why I'm still here at the ripe age of 44, doing something like this, because it's in my blood, and that passion's never going to die. And it's been reignited at the moment with what we're doing here with the podcast and where the Knights are at as a team. So, mate, I'm not going to speak for you, James, but if that was me out there, God, it's sort of like you're in the Coliseum, mate. You're prepared to die. That's how I'd be feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd want, to build you up, pick you up when you're busted. It gives you that little extra, to get up off the ground quicker. And when that Newcastle chant starts pumping around the stadium, obviously, it'd be like hair on the back of your neck standing up kind of stuff. But in saying that, I think some guys, look, they're all professional. You'd think that they can handle that sort of pressure and being in front of those types of crowds. But if you're from Newcastle, you're used to playing in front of the Newcastle crowd, you'd be loving that every day of the week. And particularly in the biggest games of the year, you'd be lapping that up. And I think it's great for the guys, and gives them an extra leg.
100%.
I think anyway.
Imagine how good it would be, playing that game. It would be so good.
You're at the Canberra game last year, and you said it was just
insane. Yeah. So that's Angelo's point here, that the crowd's easily the best crowd in the league, and I got to say, I've been to some big matches. I think probably one of the most exciting matches I ever went to. There was two at the Sydney Football Stadium, Knights games. I think the Dragons beat the Knights 4-2. Can you remember that, James? That game?
Was that in 92 or 93? Wasn't it?
I can't remember what year it was, but I was young.
Yeah.
And I remember we lost by 2 points. It was such a close game. And then
I think it was 93 actually.
I was there for that match versus the Bears that got us into the grand final. That was awesome. But no, I was there with my mum and my girlfriend last year, and for that Canberra match, and I've never experienced an atmosphere like that in my life at a football match, or let alone at any sporting event. It was awesome. The energy was just pumping. So I can imagine now it will be like that on Sunday, the build up to this game. So it's exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember watching that replay of Dom Young streaking away, scoring that try. I watched it about 100 times that night. It was just so high, it was, and the crowd was just going berserk. I loved it.
Let's hope that's Fletcher Sharp this time, mate. And it's even better when he's a local boy and he's staying loyal to the club.
How good is it that we've found a winger who's just killing it, and different stature to a Dom Young, but just such a great footy player, natural talent.
Yeah, 100%. Rightio. Thanks for chiming in, boys. It's good, and we're trying to share the comments around so you guys can get involved. Build up this excitement for this match. So talking about the match, here's the teams list, James. I'll quickly run through them. In the backs, We've got Kalen Ponga at fullback. We've got Fletcher Sharp and Marju on the wings. In the centres, we've got Dane Gay Guy and Bradman Best. And then in the halves, we've got Jack Cogger and Phoenix Crossland combining. And then for the Dolphins, Trey Fuller's been named at fullback. Asako and Bostock have been named on the wings. Tabido Fidao and Farnworth have been named in the centres, and then you've got Avarillo and Sean Sullivan in the halves. What are your thoughts there, mate? Interesting. It looks like they might stick with that formula from last week, but like I said, I think the Dolphins have shown their hand, and I don't know, maybe Katoa will get in there for O'Sullivan, or maybe not. Maybe they'll stick with what worked for them and see if they pull it off again.
Yeah, I reckon they'll probably stick with it. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Avarillo play in the halves before. I always thought he was more of a fullback.
I've seen him play for the halves in the Bulldogs.
Maybe for the Dogs, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a dangerous team. Both Herbie and Hammer were killing it last week. They're on fire. Herbie probably hasn't played as great as he has, last year with the Broncos, but he showed what he could do last week. He's a really good player. For the Knights, credit where credit's due. I thought at times Cogger was really, really good and direct in that game. And he looked a bit quicker. He was, whether he's just playing off the back of the energy of the team, and he was fired up and excited. It was good to see. But he looked sharp, and I was really impressed with him. He had some really good touches.
Might just be confidence. We've touched on it in the last few episodes. Might just be a confidence thing, and he might be starting to find a voice in that team. And that's what I'm seeing. And maybe the combination works with Crossland and him. So look, bring it on. Let's have a look at the forwards. We've got Daniel Safidi and Leo Thompson. I reckon Safidi is going to have a huge game. He's looking to be shopped to the Dolphins. Dolphins didn't want to pay all of his wage, so he's got a lot to play for. I'd like to see DSAF stay. He's been there through all those shit years of the rebuild and stuff, and he's still there in the team. And I just like him to be more consistent, and hopefully, for me, hopefully he stays. I don't know whether we need two Safidis, but you know what? We've signed him. If he aims up, let's keep him. Anyway, that's another topic. We've got Frizzell being named in there with Lucas. I think that's our strongest starting back row at this stage. The Kettle Elliott's locking in there at 13. And we've got Brayley in the hooker. For the Dolphins, we've got the 35-year-old Jesse Bromwich with Tavita Pangai Jr. and South Newcastle Jr. Another call out to the Knighthood. Let's give it to TPJ, not G, TPJ. Give it to him. You should be playing. I
think it's going to be a pretty fiery game, isn't it? Yeah, you got Kafusi and you got Pangai Jr. there, who are both fiery characters. There could be some fireworks in this game.
Oh, there will be fireworks, and that's we've got to see our boys stand up to these cats. So talking of cats, we've got Kafusi in the back row with how do you pronounce this guy? Kind of Lemuelu. Okay, he's
Connolly Lemuelu.
Okay, good work, James. And then you got my back, and then we've got Kenny Bromwich in the lock. It's a mix of experience there. Plath in there at hooker. I really like our forward pack, and I think they're going to be fired up, and I think they're going to give it to the Dolphins. But they're a pretty formidable pack themselves, and it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be fire. What do you reckon?
I think, look, they're both very tough packs. Max Plath from the Dolphins, I've been watching him a bit lately. He's very dangerous, tough player, especially built really low to the ground, real nuggety sort of guy. Yeah. I think what separates the teams really, though, if you look at Dylan Lucas, he's such a threat out in the edge. He's got skill. He's fast.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not. Lemuelu's probably similar. He's pretty dangerous, but I think Lucas is a bit more dangerous than him. But yeah, I think bring it on. I can't wait. Looking at these forward packs, I'm like, it's gonna be great.
Tasty, spicy.
Absolutely, yeah.
The spice. Right on the bench, we've got Tyson Gamble in the 14. He's back from a broken hand. And then we've got Matt Crocker, Hetherington, and Brodie Jones. And I'll just run through the extended now as well. So we've got Cant, Price, Hastings, Sewer, and KPP on the extended. I'd really
like to see Cant there.
I would have liked to see Cant there.
Yep.
He was there dominant when all that good stuff was happening. So was Jones. So was I think Hetherington was on then. I would be rewarding. I'd be rewarding Camp with a jersey. It's a tough call. I'd have him in over Big Bad Brodie. I just think he was, or even potentially over Croker.
I'd have Brodie still in there. I'd have
okay.
I thought Brodie was pretty impressive on the weekend. He looked a lot quicker than normal. Yeah,
all of them were. Yeah, it's a tough one. O'Brien's got a headache there, but I would have to pick Cant. He's in for me. He has to be in. But it's a hard one. He's got a headache. And let's have a look at the interchange and extended for the Dolphins. We've got Marshall King, dangerous player. Don't like seeing his name there. Ray Stone, Mark Nichols, and Cody Nikarima. So some experienced toilers there, James. Nikarima's also there. Good player. And well, let's quickly run through the extended. Hubner, Katoa, Keeley, Oren Keeley, Newcastle boy, Kurt Donahue, and Tessie New.
Yep, and
sorry, I threw you off a bit, but yeah, the Toilers there, and Stone and Nichols and Marshall King.
Yeah, the interest. I mean, it's an interesting bench for the Dolphins, isn't it? Because you only got Mark Nichols and Ray Stone, and then you got Cody Nikarima and Marshall King. So, is he maybe going to have a bit of a shift and put Nikarima in the starting lineup or something? Or
who knows?
In the halves,
I mean, to be frank, who cares? They're all blank faces to me, and we're just going to smash them.
It's just Wayne's the mind games have started, haven't they?
Look, Wayne had his win last week. If he loses this, he won't be. I don't think he'll be too disappointed. He's moving on to Souths next year. So I do have that vibe in regards to Bennett, and that could play in our hands. I think it could play in our hands. So let's see how the cookie crumbles, mate. We've got Ashley Klein. We've got a 35% winning strike rate with him. And we've also got not the Sharks, the Dolphins have a 33% strike rate with Klein. So I looked at that, and look, we don't get Klein a lot, and maybe that's the games when we get Klein, and also when the Dolphins get Klein. I'm thinking they're probably bigger games of like maybe higher ranked teams, and that's the reason why it's so low, the percentage. They may not necessarily be that he's against us or the Dolphins. Yeah. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Same thing again, mate. The refs are blank faces to me these days as well. It's just I just hope he doesn't. The refs should be there just to stay out of the game, basically, as much as they can, and not let any team take an advantage in any illegal way. It's just as simple as that, isn't it? And the bunker just need to do their job and
stay out of it.
Yeah. Look,
they won't.
I'm hopefully. Look, there'd be nothing worse than this coming down to a referee decision. Let's hope it doesn't come down to that, but let's not also harp on it too much. We'll just complain about it if it happens. So anyway, it's going to be a nice day in Newcastle on Sunday, and bring it on. 23 degrees, a bit of a breeze, 23 kilometers an hour, home match, old boys day. Let's go. Okay, so we're getting closer to the end, and here's some key points of analysis that Could be critical. So I think they need to fix their edge defense, James. I think the Dolphins put shifts on us, and we got caught out, especially of Marju's wing a couple of times. That there is something that they've really got to be very careful with the Dolphins, because they got a lot of speed, more than even the Titans had, and they've been exposed. Bennett would have seen that, and they'd be planning to go for it again. Kick defusal has been a problem for us this year, especially with Marju. So as good as Marju's been going, he's also he's got weaknesses in his game, edge defense and high balls. His hands have been pretty good, but when he's challenging those kicks on the line, he's been found out a few times this year. So that concerns me. And I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are going to go there, and there's points there for the Dolphins if they do that. And then also, I think O'Brien really needs to get the interchange right, because you saw last week when the forwards got tired in the middle, Safidi and Thompson, little Preston Campbell, he ran through us and they scored that try. It was a blatant forward pass. I don't know how the fuck they didn't see that. But anyway, it's another thing. But
Preston's back, is he? Preston.
Campbell. What's his name?
Young Jaden.
Jaden, not Preston.
You've gone back to the
Preston's. That's his son, right?
That's his old man. Yeah, Preston.
That's his old man. Yeah. So not Preston, but Campbell. Got us through the ruck and put a try on. So look, there's three clear things that the Dolphins can do there: shift out wide, move us around, shift out wide on Marju's wing, kick to Marju on the try line, and then go for the tied forwards in the middle. And they did that last week against the Broncos. So that's pretty concerning. But that's it. Look, even if they got 3 tries there, that's only 3 tries. And I think there's more points in Newcastle. It's old boys' day. Newcastle are building on their gritty slogfest mindset, and our attack is coming together. So these two things are, I think the timing is good. I'm really loving that we've got a mix of local talent, which is great for the club spirit. I'm feeling that. It's great to see these local boys out there aiming up and influencing games. And, they're just playing with that real newy spirit, which I think it's sort of feeds through the rest of the team and through the rest of the squad. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at young Sharp. You can tell he's just loving his footy. He's just playing great. And and also, the crowd loves to see that. They love to see locals coming through and, the next heroes for the kids, they serve as that thing that the kids can go, hey, I can play for this team and want to do that. So, we've sort of lacked that for a long time now, which never used to be the case, but hopefully things have sort of turned around on that front.
Yeah. It's great. And I've touched on this a couple of times on this point, is that I think Wayne Bennett had his grand final last week with his ego and beating the Broncos on home turf and being the number 1 Queensland club at the moment in Queensland. So I don't think the stakes are as high for him personally. And how much that impacts the game. I think the way that impacts the game is that they prepared for that match like it was a grand final. And they might have shown their hand a week early. So coming to Newcastle and, a packed out McDonald Jones Marathon Stadium on a Sunday afternoon at 4:00 on Old Boys Day. Recipe's good there for a night's win, isn't it? With the momentum and everything, the way we're going.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope all those things don't, freak some of the boys out and they go out there a bit, get a bit not scared, but
I don't think
in headlights.
So. I reckon last week was a good dress rehearsal. Good, that was, you couldn't get better practice, could you? It's on a Sunday at 2:00 in front of a home crowd, and it was a must-win match. So what better preparation do you have than that? You don't. That's full stop. So I don't think that's going to be a factor. But we'll find out. But most likely it won't be a factor. And if we, I think, give me a second here. As Jeff mentioned before, shout out Jeff. Basically, their completion rate last week, the Dolphins was 78%, 12 errors, 8 offloads. Less offloads, more errors, worse completion rate. If they turn up and dish that out against the Knights and we do what we did last week, we will win.
Yeah.
Full stop. Okay. We're going to get into the betting segment now. And we'll, after this, which will probably go for 5 minutes, and we'll get into our final predictions, wrap up the show. So there's a little clip there from the article that I wrote. I mean, I won't go into it too much, but we predicted this outcome again, James. We had a bet at Knights to cover the line at minus 10.5, $1.85 via TopSport. Bet landed. That was a pre-match bet. The live bet at halftime, I could see blood, and I took the Knights at minus 13.5 at $1.92. We won that bet pretty comfortably. It was looking pretty good there after 60 minutes, but it got a little bit nervous. They were only one try away from ruining the party. So it was great to see that we finished it off and scored at the end, and I was pretty happy about that because that got us to a winning profit for 17% for the season. And just to touch on the betting, basically, I'm quite passionate about betting and footy, but we want to make a profit. We don't want to encourage irresponsible gambling. We want to make a system that basically produces a consistent result, more like an investment, not more like a punt. So I've been teaching James. James is a novice for the season, and what we've been going through, James, is a system of selection. Going through that process, making a call, having a process to make live bets, allocating the right amount of money towards bets, because if you don't get that right, sometimes you'll put less on a winner and more on a loser, and you'll end up losing just by getting your maths wrong. Win, loss, or draw, measuring your results, and then focusing on constant improvement. That's what we've done this year. And we followed a few rules, such as never bet more than you can afford to lose. Never chase your losses. That's the worst thing you can do in betting. Chasing your losses, that's when the emotions are high and the intelligence is low. Focus on the long term, not on the moment. That's when you got to pull your head in and, use your head and not your emotions. And if you can't control gambling, if it's a problem for you, my advice is to quit. Just enjoy the footy. And I'm quite passionate about that. I've had my ups and downs over the years with betting, especially on horses, not so much footy. I've a pretty good strike rate with footy, but gambling can become addictive, and it can fill holes in your life. And if that's sort of talking to anyone out there, what we're trying to do here is teach people how to make responsible decisions and to make a profit. So that's what the Knighthood podcast is about, and about supporting people as well. So if anyone's having problems with gambling, reach out to us, send us a private message, and we'll clan together and help each other out. But I mean, ultimately, the way we're going to help each other out is to make a profit, and we're making a 17% profit for the year. So based off a $100 bet on every bet this year, you would have made $551 at 17% return on investment. If that bet was 1,000 per match, you'd be making $5,000. If it was 10,000, you'd be making 50, 60 grand. So, the percentage return, has been pretty high level. The head-to-head strike rate's at 64%. That's at pro level. The average winning odds is $1.83. That allows us to make a profit. That can't be too low. Otherwise, we won't make a profit. So we've got the mix right. We've got the formula right with the winning bet average, with the strike rate, and also we've been doing pretty well with live bets this year, especially in the latter end of the season. I'm on a really good win streak with them, and it's a fine art. And I'm starting to get a good feel for it at 69% strike rate. So, yeah, look, it's good. And if I do pull off this top 8 bet, it's going to be like a 35-40% return on investment for the year, which is going to smash the 25% that I was aiming for, which was already pretty ambitious. Look, it's been a hard year. Shout out to some podcasts out there that basically the tripod. I've been following Winnie, Shout out to Winnie. He's had 9 winning seasons in a row. This year he's losing. So it's been a hard year. If you just back the Knights this year, you'd be at 11% loss if you went head-to-head with the bookies. James, you're at 3% profit. You've slowed the process down and been going slower, and you've got a profit there, which is good. And I think you're learning how to get this right. So maybe you'll finish off the season on a high note and bring up that profit. And then you've got some good lessons learned moving into next year. So look, touching on that, you got a winning bet last week. You went the Mr. Conservative route. I think you landed at $1.30. That took you up to 3% profit. But the Knights won pretty comfortably, so that was good. And we'll get into your tip in a second. So the current odds, the Knights the winner at $1.72, Dolphins the winner at $2.12. Knights at the line are -2.5 at $1.95. Knights 1 to 12, $3.40. Knights 13 pluses at $3.25. These odds are brought to you by Top Sport. If you're having a bet, have it with Toppy. Tristan Merland's CEO there. He's a good guy. They run a good Aussie run business. And I suggest that you use these guys over your bigger players. Yes, have your bet, have it with Toppy. James, are you having a bet this week?
I'm definitely having a bet. I'm gonna confirm it on the day.
Okay.
Today I've been thinking about it quite a bit today at work, and initially I was just going to take the Knights to win at $1.72, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty. I reckon the Knights are in with a shot with the 1 to 12 at $3.40. So that could be on the cards for me as well. So I've just got to weigh it up and make that final decision prior to the game.
You think they're a chance at 13 plus?
They are, but I think it's going to be a bit tighter, to be honest. That's my gut's telling me it's going to be a pretty tight game. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to move into my tips. So at the moment, as I said, we've got a top 8 bet at 8.25. That's a heist. So we're looking to pull off a heist here. That's let's hope that lands. Fingers crossed. So all we got to do is land one game. So there were so many elements to that bet landing. Everything's in place. We just need one win. So let's go Newcastle. That definitely makes it exciting, especially when we've already got a profit racked up for the year, and this is just going on and making extra cream. So really not just exciting from a personal point of view, with the red and blue going through the veins. Got the dollar, the green running through the veins as well.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, if they can get the job done, then mate.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome job. Yeah.
It causes celebration. And then my bet for the week, I'm going to go for it right now, is Knights head-to-head at $1.72. So I was trying to be a bit cheeky there. I thought Kafusi was probably going to get suspended, but my gut feeling was that he wasn't. So, my gut was right, and my head was wrong. So, but I'm going to stick with it. I don't care. I think Newcastle, we should be winning. We should be winning. If this match was played 3 times, we'd probably win it twice and lose it once. The odds are in our favour. We've got a profit, and I'm going to just stick with the head-to-head at $1.72. So that's the bet for the week. And look, I do have the opportunity to hedge my bet or double down during the match with the live. And I've been really good at that in the second half of this season. There was a number of games that I hedged my bet and I had to get out of bets and consolidate my position. And then last week I was aggressive when I saw an opportunity and then doubled down, and it worked. So I've got a really good system. My process, this whole process, it's all coming together. Just kind of, I guess, at the back end of the season, like it has for the Knights. I've been a lot more consistent than the Knights this year, but I'm really happy with how this whole process is going. And I'm really looking for that big reward on Sunday. So yeah, check out our socials on X on game day for James's prediction. If you want to follow his tip, we'll see if he's going to be Mr. Conservative or not this week. And the other shout out there as well is also look out on our socials for our next article, because I'll write an article for the Knighthood podcast, which will have a bit of a match analysis and yeah, I've enjoyed writing the last couple of articles, and that's going to be an ongoing thing for the Knighthood moving forward. So, look, James, the end. We're at the end of the show. So, what are your final thoughts, mate?
Oh, mate, I'm just pumped for the game on the weekend. It's been a good night, dissecting last week's game, but also talking about the exciting game this week and just the pathway ahead. If we can get through this, it's exciting times and just a great time of year. So, mate, bring it on, and let's get this 8th spot and hopefully go further.
100%, mate. Up the Knights. And Angelo, one more game, one more win. Let's go. Fire up. 100%.
Yep.
Look, my closing comment is fire up, Newcastle. Get there and be loud and proud. Let's hope the Knights play tough, strong, playing tough. What's the team song, James? Playing hard, playing tough. Not playing good's not good. Just playing good's not good enough.
That's it. Yeah.
Show you what league's all about. There's a lesson to be learned. We're handing it out.
Oh, you know it all.
So on and so forth.
That's a classic, that one.
Well, there it is. Yeah. That's what I want to see. Lesson to be learned. We're handing it out. Tough, hard Knights, strong footy. Let's go. Fire up. Get out there. Support the Knights. Have a responsible drink. Get loose. Enjoy the game. Get out there with your family and friends. And let's clan together the Knighthood. Thank you, everyone, for your support to this point this year. Let's hope it's not our last game for the year. It could be, James. We could be doing a season review next Tuesday. Fingers crossed, but knock on wood, it's not.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm feeling pretty confident the boys will, put in a good performance and win. But no, it's been a great night. I'm really enjoying the fact that we're getting some guys, sending some comments in. It adds a bit more flavor to the podcast, and it's great to bounce off some people. So guys, thanks a lot, and keep sending in those comments. We love it.
Yeah, well said, James. Here. I agree with that. Look, probably time for me to shut up. I've been talking a lot tonight. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for your support. Good luck to the boys on Sunday. Just playing good's not good enough. Let's go. Let's win. Let's get into the finals.
Bring it on.
Let's hear this theme song at the end.
All right, mate. I'll see you next week, and I'll be in touch to confirm my bet before the game.
Sounds good. Tune in to X, everybody, for James's prediction and my live bets. If I put any on, that's where they're going to be. Let's go.